Hi, welcome to my video on the review of factoring 1 and 2. This review is on all the factoring done in grade 9 and probably in grade 10. And again, review is treated as a quiz. So the total of this is at a 54. And again, I have one of 4 pages is the first one. I have 3 more pages with questions on it. And you do one question at a time and pause the video, do the question. If you get it right, put the mark over on the right side. Do that for each question, total up the page. There are 3 pages to total up. And when you're finished, hopefully your score out of 54 will convert to a good percentage. And here we go, a review of all the factoring in factoring 1 and 2. Factor each completely. Number 1, 2x squared plus 12x. The first rule in factoring is the GCF. The smallest number is 2, so 2 is common, a factor of 12, so I take a 2 out. I got an x squared and an x, so therefore I take an x out. The smallest exponent is 1, which is right here. Notice it's in descending order. 2x squared divided by 2x is x. And a plus 12x divided by 2x is plus 6. If you have that answer, give yourself 1 mark. Number 2, again, always look for the GCF if there is one. And in this one, we have x and y variables, so we don't worry about descending order, but we do have a negative in the first term. 3 is a factor of 12, so we take out a 3. We have an x in each term. The smallest exponent is 1. We have a y in each term. And the smallest exponent is 2, so that's the GCF. So we take each term and divide by the GCF. And so negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1. X cubed divided by x is x squared. And y squared divided by y squared is 1. Positive 12 x y cubed divided by negative 3 x y squared is a negative 4y. We have the x's, and so y cubed divided by y squared is y. And if you have that, then you give yourself 1 mark. Number 3, we have a trinomial where a is 1. So in this case, the product is c, and the sum is b. This is very similar to what we did before when the coefficient here is not 1. Remember, it was ac, but notice that a is 1. So when a is 1, the product becomes c. So the product is 16 and the sum is negative 10. And the factors of 16 are 1 times 16, 2 times 8, 4 times 4. So which pair of factors will multiply to give you 16 and add to give you negative 10? And it looks like it's 2 and 8. So 2 times 8. But when the product is positive, then you have 2 of the middle signs, or you have, because the sum is negative 10, you have 2 negatives. Check. Multiply these 2, and you get 16. Add these 2, and you get negative 10. In this case, when the a is 1, you have an x and an x, and these factors of negative 2 and negative 8 fit right into the brackets. Easy to do when a is 1. Give yourself a mark if you're correct. Number 4 is in descending order, x squared x and a constant. Remember, a constant has x to the 0. That's why it's on the right side. I have a 4 as a factor of 8 and 60, so I take out the 4. X is not a GCF, so 4x squared divided by 4 is x squared. Negative 8x divided by 4 is negative 2x. Negative 60 divided by 4 is negative 15. Again, we have a trinomial where a is 1, so the product is negative 16, and the sum is b, which is negative 2. And the factors of 15 are 1 times 15 and 3 times 5. And so let's see if we can factor this further. So x squared is x and x. And the factors of 15 They give me a -2. They have it be a plus and a minus. So I have to have a plus 3 times a -5. Multiply -15. Add -2. So plus 3 minus 5 is the factorization of this trinomial. So 4 times x plus 3, x minus 5. 1 mark for the GCF and 1 mark for this final answer. And we have x squared minus 9, and we have, that's an x being squared, minus 9 is a 3 squared. That's the difference of 2 squares. So when you have that, you just take x and x, that gives you the x squared. 3 and 3 gives you the 9. And because the product is negative, notice the product is -9, the sum is 0, so that must be a plus 3 minus 3. Give yourself a mark. And number 6 is C. Again, double variables, so we have an a in each term, so we take out an a. And the smallest exponent of a is a 7, so a to the 7 is the GCF. So a to the 7, b squared divided by a to the 7 is b squared. And 11, a to the 7b divided by a to the 7 is 11b. And 24, a to the 7 divided by a to the 7 is a 24. And again, this looks like it's factorable, so let's check and see. Double brackets. B squared is B and B. Again, the product is C, which is 24. And the sum is B, which is 11. So the factors of 24 are 1 times 24, 2 times 12. 3 is a factor of 12, so it's 3/8 is 24. 4 times 6 gives me 24. So again, the product is positive, the sum is positive, so that's 2 pluses. So what are the factors of 24 to give you 11? And the answer is 3 and 8. Again, if you multiply these two binomials out by FOIL, you'll get x squared plus 11b, b squared plus 11b plus 24. 1 mark for the GCF and 1 mark for the final answer, 2 total. Number 7, I have a binomial GCF. So I have x squared plus 4 in both expressions. So I take that out. Y is left, minus 7. And that's 2 marks for that. Notice this is the sum of 2 squares. You cannot factor x squared plus 4 over the real numbers. So if you did factor this further, only give yourself 1 mark. That's the final answer right there. Number 8. I have descending order of all x's, so 5, a 4, and a 3. I have a 1 here, so an x is in every term. The smallest exponent is 5, 4, and 3. X cubed is in all the terms. x5 divided by x cubed is x squared. 8x to the 4 divided by x cubed is a plus 8x. Negative 20x cubed divided by x cubed is negative 20. The GCF is taken out, and we have a trinomial, and can the factors of 20, the product is negative 20, which is your C. The sum, the product is your C, because A is 1. When A is 1, 1 times C, the product is C, which is negative 20. The sum is B, sum is 8. Factors of 20 are 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 5 times 4. And what factors of 20 give you an 8? Notice the product is a negative 20. So factors differ to give you 8, so it's 2 and 10. So let's see what 2 they are. X squared is x times x. Factors are 2 and 10. But one of them, product is negative, so one of them is positive and one of them is negative. But they have to add up to give you 8. So it's a plus 10 minus 2. Multiply negative 2 and positive 10, you get negative 20. Add them and you get an 8. So 1 mark for the GCF, 1 mark for this, 2 marks total. Number 9, I have to always write my polynomial descending order. So it's a square, so the negative x squared minus 4x plus 21. Notice I didn't change the signs because I'm not transposing across an equal sign. And in factoring, I always take out my negative that's in the first term. Never have a negative in the first term, but the pattern that we do won't hold true. So I take out a negative. What we're really doing is taking out a negative 1. So negative x squared divided by negative is x squared. Negative 4x divided by negative is a positive 4x. And a plus 21 divided by negative is negative 21. And again, we have a trinomial, and the product is C because A is 1. The sum is B. So the product is negative 21. And the sum is B, which is 4. 21 is 1 times 21. 3 times 7. Which factors will give me the 4? So it's 3 and 7. So because this is a 1x squared, we can write down the two brackets, which is x and x. Factors of 21 are 3 and 7. But because the product is negative, one of them has to be positive, one is negative. So since the sum is plus 4, the larger one is a plus, the smaller one is a minus. Multiply. Check. Multiply these two, you get negative 21. Add these two, you get plus 4. And the factorization, descending order, 1 mark. Taking out the negative, 1 mark. And last, if this is right, you get 3 marks total. So that's a 15. Hope you're doing well in the review, because this is the first part of this is a review of factoring 1. And we have number 10, factor completely. We have a 1/3. So we have to remove the 1/3. We do not want a fraction, so we're going to take the 1/3 out of here. So 1/3 divided by 1/3 is x squared. So negative 2 divided by 1/3 is negative 2 times 3 over 1. So that's a negative 6. And we have 3 divided by 1/3. So that's the same as 3 times 3 over 1. So that's a plus 9. So taking out the 1/3 is divided into each of these coefficients. So just check back. 1/3 times 1 is 1/3. 1/3 of 6 is negative 2. 1/3 of 9 is 3. And that's a trinomial where a is 1. So we have x squared is x and x. We have a product is a positive 9. So the product is C. The sum is B. That's because a is 1. So the product is 9 and the sum is negative 6. 1 times 9, 3 times 3. So what factors of 9 add up to give you negative 6? So it's got to be 3 and 3. 3 and 3 multiplies to give you 9. But they got to be, because the sum is positive, it has to be 2 negatives. So check. Multiply negative 3 is 9. Add negative 3, you get negative 6. And you can summarize that by x minus 3 squared, because there's 2 of them. Again, taking out the negative 3 is 1 mark, and writing this down is the other mark. So that brings us to the end of factoring 1. Now we'll review factoring 2. We have 4 terms. So 4 terms normally means 2 pairs. X is common in the first 2. That's an x minus 10. And we have a plus, whatever that sign is there, that's what goes there. And we have 4y. 4 is a GCF factor of 40. Y is in each term, so 4y. So 4xy divided by 4y is x. Negative 40y divided by 4y is negative 10. So the binomial GCF is x minus 10. And when we remove x minus 10 out of the first expression, we get an x. When we remove x minus 10 out of the second expression, we get a plus 4y. So 1 mark for this and 1 mark for this one. Mark for each of these, I should say. Mark for this one, mark for this one, and a mark for the final answer, 3 total. Number 12, we have we have descending order, always obey. We have x squared x and a constant. X is not common. 2 is not common. So this is where a is not 1. So the product is a times c. The sum is b. Again, a is 2, b is 7, c is 6. So a is 2, C is 6, that gives the product of 12. B is 7, and the factors of 12 are 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. So which pair of factors multiply to give you 12 and add to give you 7? The answer is 3 and 4. So you take those two factors and break up the 7x as plus 3x plus 4x. So you take those two factors that obeys the product and obeys the sum, put an x with it because they'll add together to give you 7. So we break it up into two pairs. So we have x in the first two. So 2x squared divided by x is 2x. 3x divided by x is plus 3. And we have a plus right here. So whatever that sign is, that's what that is. 4 and 6 has a 2 common. So we take the 2 out. 4x divided by 2 is 2x. 6 divided by 2 is plus 3. The binomial GCF is 2x plus 3. And when you take 2x plus 3 out of the first expression, you get an x. When you take 2x plus 3 out of the second expression, you get a plus 2. And we have 2 marks. Again, one for, if you can go with this line here, and then one for this. So 2 altogether. And in number 13, we have descending order of 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. We have 3 is not a GCF, so we can't take out a 3, but there is an x, so we have to take the x out because the x is in all the terms. 3x cubed divided by x is 3x squared. Negative 13x squared divided by x is negative 13x. Negative 10x divided by x is negative 10. So we have the GCF out. When you take the GCF out, it makes the factoring easier. And we have a trinomial with a is 3, so we have to, the way I like to do it, the sum is a times c. Sorry, the product is a times c, and the sum is b. So a is 3, b is negative 13, c is negative 10. So that's 3 times c, which is negative 10. So the product is negative 30. Sum is b, so it's negative 13. And the product is negative 30, so we got 1 times 30. We got a 2 is even, so it's 2 times 15. 10 is a factor of 30, so it's 10 times 3. 5 is a factor of 10, so 5 times what number gives you 36. So the product is negative 30, so that means we must have a plus and a minus. So let's see. And the factors, because the product is negative 30 and the sum is negative 13, the factors differ by 13. So, and the answer is 2 and 15 differ. So you got a 2 times 15, but one of them is plus and one is minus because the product is negative. So because the sum is negative 13, so that means the larger number is going to be negative. So positive 2, negative 13, check, multiply, negative 30, add negative 13. So those two numbers go in to replace negative 13x with a plus 2x minus 15x minus 10. And we continue, make the brackets big, the first two, the second two. We have a common x in the first two, so 3x squared divided by x is 3x. 2x divided by x is plus 2. And we have a negative here, so we take a negative. And a common GCF between 15 and 10 is 5. So negative 15x divided by negative 5 is 3x. Negative 10 divided by negative 5 is plus 2. Looks good because these two are the same. So I have an x. This x keeps coming down, 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 down. And now I'll just write the two brackets. So what's common? GCF is a 3x plus 2. And what's left is x and a minus 5. Done. And we have the GCF taken out. Greatest common factor x, 1 mark here, and 1 mark for this line here, and then a mark for this, total of 3. 14, descending order. This is not in descending order, so we have to do the x squared first. So it's a negative 16x squared plus 28x minus 6. Now it's in descending order, and I never have a negative in my first. A should never be negative. That's the way I do it. So I take out 6 as a GCF of, nope, 2 is a GCF. They're all even, so I'll take out a 2. Negative 2 is coming out. So negative 2 into negative 16x squared is 8x squared. Plus 28x divided by negative 2 is negative 14x. Minus 6 divided by negative 2 is a plus 3. And now we have this trinomial where A is not 1, so we have to do product is A times C, sum is B. And that's A, that's B, and that's C. So A is 8, C is 3. That means the product is 24. The sum is B, so B is negative 14. Factors of 24 is 1 and 24 even, so it's 2 and 12. 3 is in 12, so it's 3 into 24 goes 8. 12 has a 6, so 6 times 4 is 24. And what factors multiply to give you 24 and add to give you 14? So notice the answer is 2 and 12. So 2 times 12. Product is positive, so you have to have two signs the same. So because the sum is negative, so you got a negative 2 and a negative 12. Multiply 24. Add negative 14. So we split the 14x into negative 2x and a negative 12x. They should add together to give it a negative 14. And that's done. We break it up into two pairs. Here we go. And in the first two, I have a 2x as a GCF. 8x squared divided by 2x is 4x. And negative 2x divided by 2x is negative 1. And in the next pair, I have a negative, so I take it out. And I have a 3 as a GCF. So we have negative 12x divided by negative 3 is 4x. Plus 3x divided by negative 3 is negative 1. And the negative 2 keeps coming down. Since the two of these are the same here, so I'll write 4x minus 1 in one bracket. And when you take that out, you get a 2x. When you take it out of here, you get a minus 3. And you get a mark for descending order, a mark for the GCF, and 2 marks for getting the final answer, 4 altogether. And in 15, I have descending order 3, 2, 1 constant, perfect. I have 4 terms, so let's see if I can break it up into 2 terms each, 2 pairs, and I have a 4 and an x squared is in the first 2. So 4x cubed divided by 4x squared is x, and 4x squared divided by 4x squared is plus 1. And I have a minus, so I take that out. Whatever this sign is, that's what that one is. 25 is a GCF. So negative 25x divided by negative 25 is x. Negative 25 divided by negative 25 is plus 1. So the GCF is x plus 1. And what's left is 4x squared minus 25. And x plus 1 can't factor any further, but this is 4x squared is 2x being squared minus a 5 being squared. So it's the difference of 2 squares. And the difference of 2 squares, it broke it up into 2 brackets. So x squared times x squared gives you 4x squared. 5 times 5 gives you 25. And because the product is negative and the sum is 0, you have to have a plus and a minus for the difference of 2 squares. So a mark for each of these, the 2 marks. And then when you take out the binomial GCF, you get another mark. And when you factor this difference of 2 squares further, you get another mark, 4 in total. That's an 18 total for that page. And hopefully everything is going well. If you reviewed all my videos, that's the key. Did you review all my videos? Factor completely. Now we have number 16. Descending order is x cubed and a constant, but I see a cube. So that means that this is made up of an x being cubed minus 5 being cubed. So that's the difference of two cubes. So that's an a cubed minus b cubed. It's the difference, subtraction. So that becomes an a squared, ab, b squared. This sign is a minus, so the first sign here is a minus. This one is the opposite, which is a plus, and this one is always a plus. So notice that a is x, and b is 5. So we will put a is x and b is 5 into this expression. A is x, b is 5. A is x, b is 5. So I subbed x in the place of a, 5 in the place of b, and when you work all that out, you get x minus 5, and x squared is just x squared, x times x, and x times 5 is a plus 5x, and you get positive, and 5 squared is 25. So you have 3 marks, one for writing down this expression here, x cubed minus 5 cubed is 1 mark, one writing the pattern and filling it in, and the final answer is another mark, 3 total. 17, again, I have x's and y's, so no descending order with different variables, but I think of it, look, I see 3's power, so I think of cubes, because my powers are 3's. So what cube gives you? 8, so 2 cubed gives you 8. 6 divided by 3 is x squared. And what cube gives you 27 is 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So that's the a and that's the b. So we have the sum of 2 cubes. So this is a cubed plus b cubed. And a cubed plus b cubed is a squared, b squared. That's a plus, so that's a plus right there. And this is the opposite, which is a minus, and the end one is always a plus. If you learned the pattern, and now a is 2x squared, so a is 2x squared. B is 3y to the 5th, 3y to the 5th. And a is 2x squared, so it's 2x squared. A is 2x squared. B is 3y to the 5. That's a 5. And b is 3y to the 5. And we have to square this. Okay, that's a square there. And this works out to be no change here, so it's 2x squared plus 3y5. So we got to be careful simplifying the inside. Here we go. 2x squared times 2x squared is 4x to the 4th. And we have a negative. So 2 times 3 is 6. And we have an x squared y5. And we have 3y5 times 3y to the 5, because that's 3 to the y. This b is 3y to the 5 squared. So we multiply twice, that gives us a positive 9y to the 10. And there's 3 marks, one for writing this down, and one for working this, and one for the final answer, 3 in total. 18, we have to have descending order every time. So we got a 2x to the 10 minus 128x to the 7. So there's the descending order. Again, you don't change the sign because you're not transposing. So we have a GCF. In descending order GCF, I see a 2. and I see an x in each term, but the smallest exponent is 7. So 2x to the 10 divided by 2x to the 7 is x cubed. 10 subtract 7 is 3. 2 into 128 is negative 64. X to the 7 cancels out. And again, this is a cube. So this is 2x to the 7. So that's an x cubed minus 4 cubed. So that's the difference of two cubes. So it's an a cubed minus b cubed, which is a squared, ab, b squared. And because that's a minus, this is a minus, this is the opposite, which is a plus, and this is always a plus. Notice that 2x to the 7 is written down, and we have, I'm going to work it up here and then put the final answer down here. So a is x, b is 4. A is x, b is 4. A is x, b is 4. B is 4. So I have it all filled in. So this first bracket is x minus 4. The second bracket is x being squared. X times x is x squared. And a positive 4x. And a positive 4 squared. 4 times 4 is 16. And we got 5 marks. 1 for descending order. 1 for the GCF. And notice that we got 3 left. So 1 for writing down x cubed minus 4 cubed. And then 2 for the pattern, working this out, 5 total. Number 19. We have x descending order okay. And we have x to the 4. So that's a is 1. So the product is C and the sum is B because A is 1. So A is 1, B is negative 17, C is 16. Product is C, 16. The sum is negative 17. So 1 times 16, 2 times 8, and 4 times 4 are the factors of 16. But the one that adds up to give me the negative 17 is 1 and 16. But because the product is positive, then we have to have 2 negatives because the sum is negative. So when the product is positive, the 2 signs are the same. So whatever the middle sign is, that's what the 2 signs are going to be. So what makes this? This is easy because a is 1. We have x squared and x squared. That gives me x to the 4th. And I can tell whatever the middle term is. That's what both of these are going to be. Factors of 16 is a negative 1 and a negative 16. So these 2 factors go in here without doing 4 terms, breaking them up into pairs. When a is 1, these factors automatically fit in the brackets. And we have the difference of 2 squares. So we have x plus 1, x minus 1 for the first one. And we have a difference of 2 squares here because that's 4 squared. So we have x squared is x and x. And we have 4 and 4, again with a plus and a minus. So we have, if you have each one of these, mark for that one and a mark for that one, and then a mark for each of these factors, so 4 marks total. Number 20, we have x to the 4 subtract 81, descending order. So this is difference of 2 squares, because that's an x squared all squared minus 9 squared. So we have the difference of 2 squares. So it's x squared times x squared is x to the 4. 9 times 9 is 81. And we have a plus and a minus. Because the product is negative. Notice that there's 0x squared is in the middle. Not written down, but because the sum is 0. So plus 9 minus 9 is 0. We cannot factor the sum of 2 squares, so we leave that alone. It is factorable, not over the real numbers. And this is the difference of 2 squares, because that's an x being squared minus 3 being squared. So that's an x and an x, 3 and a 3 plus minus. But you cannot factor this one. So a mark for each one of these, and a mark if you factored this one, 3 total. But if you factor this one, then only give yourself 2 marks because you lose a mark. Now we have a bonus question here on 21. Bonus question is, this one is, you got to think different. We have 4 terms, so normally we would go 2 and 2, but we can't take anything out of that one. We take a 3 out of this one, these two, and we got x plus y. But this one doesn't have there's no x plus y here. But if you look at it closely, because I took a 3 out of here and made x plus y, there is an x plus y in this. But what happens, you have to go and treat this as the difference of 2 squares. So that's x squared is x and x. That's a y squared, which is y and a y. So that's a plus and a minus. So if I factor this one to get x plus y times x minus y, and then I take the 3 out of these two, 3 comes out to get an x plus y. Now I have a binomial Gcf. So in this one and in this one, I have x plus y. That's common to both this expression and this one. So if I take an x plus y out of this, I'll get an x minus y left. If I take an x plus y out of this one, I get a plus 3. So it's a bonus question. You got to be thinking. So if you do the 3 out of here, you recognize you got an x plus y. So that should ring some bells and say, how do I get an x plus y here? So it's factoring. So noticing this, you get 1 mark. Doing this one, you get a mark. And taking out the x plus y as the final step, you get another mark. Total of 21 marks altogether when you add them up. And that brings us to the end. So if we go back to the first page, if you total all your pages, and you take the total and put it over 54, divide 54 into the numerator, it gives you a decimal, and move the decimal 2 places to the right to get your percentage. Hopefully everything worked out. Hopefully with my series of videos in factoring 1 and my series of videos in factoring 2, your factoring has grown to a better understanding. And if you like my video, click the like button. If you're not a subscriber, click the subscribe button and the notification bell. Write a comment on my video if you wish. And www is my math website, mathfullyexplained.com. And on that website, you have 3 sections. My me section is my degrees and teaching experience. The video section talks about the strategies you're going to use to help you learn your math. The content section has the topics and the number of videos on those topics that's going to be on my YouTube channel. And the black font is what's there already, and the red font will be the topics that will be there in the near future. Thank you for viewing my video. Bye-bye.